I now want to talk about snapshots. A snapshot saves the current state of a virtual machine, so we can easily revert back to it later on. The nice thing about VirtualBox snapshots is that in addition to saving any changes made to the data of the virtual machine, that is, to the virtual disk, they also save the machine's configuration. So for example, I have this Ubuntu virtual machine, and right now its memory is set to 3300 megabytes. To create a snapshot, we first open the Snapshot Manager. And we can see that right now we only have here the current state. To create a snapshot, we simply click on Take. And we need to give it a name. I'll call it 3300 REN. We can also type in a description if we want to better describe it, but I'll just create it. And here we have it, our snapshot was created. Let's now change the RAM size to 2000 megabytes. And if we look at the Snapshot Manager now, we can see that the current state is marked as changed. So I'm using the RAM size as an example, but it can be as many changes to the configuration as you want. And if we want to undo these changes, we can restore the snapshot and the virtual machine will get back to the previous state. And VirtualBox suggests to create a new snapshot of the current state. But since I want to get rid of these recent changes, I don't want this additional snapshot, so I'll uncheck the box. And just like that, we switched back to the previous state, and the current state isn't marked as changed anymore. And indeed, the machine's memory is back at 3300 megabytes. An important thing to know is that snapshots are built on top of each other. So if, for example, I'll create a file on the desktop of the virtual machine, and now I'll create a snapshot, we can see that it's indented. That is, it's moved to the right a bit. The indentation tells us that the new snapshot is built on top of the previous one. This feature may be very useful when you try something complicated on your virtual machine, something that comprises many steps. You can create a relative snapshot after each of these steps. So if something goes sideways, instead of starting all over again, you can get back exactly to the point that you want to do differently. So if now I create a second file on the desktop, and create an additional snapshot for the updated state, I can easily restore to the state in which I didn't have any files, or the state in which I only had one file, or the state in which I had both of the files. One last thing I want to mention is snapshots of a running machine. So far we only created snapshots of the machine while it was off. We can also create a snapshot of the machine while it's running. Okay, the machine is on and we're about to take an additional snapshot. But before that, let's take a look at the folder of the virtual machine. So we can see that a new snapshots subfolder was created. And we have here 3 VDI files, one for each of the snapshots. And the sizes are about something like 100 megabytes each. Let's now take a new snapshot while the machine is running. And we can see that this snapshot is taking a little longer to create. Let's look at the files we have now. And in addition to a new VDI file that's about the same size as the other ones, we also have an SAV file. And this one is way bigger, about 700 megabytes. That's because when we create a snapshot of a running virtual machine, in addition to its configuration and disk state, VirtualBox also saves its memory, resulting in a much bigger file. So you can do it, but given that snapshots of machines that are off are faster and more lightweight, personally I think that in most cases they will serve you better. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.